let's discuss angle shooting. And we're going to be using a hand played by Poker Bunny at a 100-200 no-limit hold'em game at Hustler Casino to illustrate how you should play when you are not sure what your opponent's words or actions mean. An angle shoot, by the way, for those who do not know, is when someone does something that maybe is out of line. It's important to realize, though, that the rules of No Limit Texas Hold'em are pretty clear. You are, in most casinos, allowed to do things like move your chips a little bit. You're allowed to play with your chips. You're allowed to say whatever you want within reason, especially in cash games. So make sure that you protect yourself from things that your opponents may be doing to try to induce you to make some sort of a blunder. Now, I will say I do not know Poker Bunny at all. As far as I know, we've never interacted. And I do not know if she actually angle shoots in this hand or not. Only she knows that, but that does not really matter. I am here to teach all of you how to make sure that you do not get crushed by someone who does potentially run an angle on you. So let's take a look at this hand from a 100-200 no-limit hold'em game.
Ben raises in late position. Poker Bunny has a suited connector. She's going to re-raise.
All right, so Ben raises it up in the cutoff to $500, which is perfectly fine in standard. And then Poker Bunny 3-bets the 7-6 suited from the big blind. They are playing $26,000 deep at 100-200. So 130 big blinds deep. 3-betting suited connectors is certainly fine.
I didn't know the hand you're talking about, but would you have made the same decision?
No. He said
Ben's in a pretty tough spot. I think folding is fine. I think 4-betting is fine. Calling's a little bit speculative. King 10 also is not particularly a great hand. But whatever. We'll see the flop.
And
But I'm a loose player.
she gets a beautiful flop. Bottom two against top pair, good kicker.
She opts to check, which some people may think, why in the world would you check with 2 pair? Actually, checking from out of position on these middle connected boards is quite good because Ben is going to have a whole lot of middle suited connected hands in his range that raises and calls a 3-bet. And Poker Bunny, while she will 3-bet some suited connectors, will not 3-bet all of them. So this is a board that probably favors Ben. So I definitely think checking, looking to check raise with some hands that are very strong but are vulnerable, like overpairs or 2-pair, is a very, very nice strategy. And that does look like what she's presumably going to do.
Her opponent just added $100,000 because he was tilting. I anticipate Poker Bunny getting a double up here.
Ben goes for a 2/3 pot bet. Certainly fine there. He bets $3,900 into about a $6,000 pot. And Poker Bunny has $26,000 behind. So if she was facing a smaller bet, I imagine she should probably not check raise all in. But facing a 4,000 bet, all in's kind of big, but I think that's probably fine. The issue is you want to ask, do I have any check raise bluffs that I want to check raise to something like 9,000 and then fold with 16,000 behind? And I mean, maybe you could check raise something like King 8 of clubs, but that hand probably just like wants to continuation bet itself, so it's may not even be in your range at this point. May not 3-bet preflop, who knows? So whenever you don't have a whole lot of hands that want to check raise and then fold to a shove, you should probably just shove or call, right? If the bet was smaller, though, then Poker Bunny would probably be more inclined to check raise random 9s and 8s and then could potentially fold them to a shove, or random overcards like Queen Jack suited, stuff like that. Anyway, seems like a pretty nice spot to go for a raise, and I'd probably just rip it in, I guess. Her stack's a little bit awkward, and it's a little bit big to shove over a 4,000 bet, but realize the pot's already $10,000, so I think that's really the only play. You may say, why not call and trap? Well, there are actually a lot of bad cards for her, so you probably do just want to go ahead and check raise immediately. And you get full value from a 10 that way. Giving it some thought. A lot of thought. Mr. Editor, feel free to edit out all the thinking.
Just trying to get all the money in.
All in. Wait. I think I got them. Yeah, I mean, I have to be all in now. Like, this isn't an angle or something. I don't know.
What? How much is it?
Let's rewind this.
Well, that's what I just said with my hand.
Don't give out free.
Listen, pay attention.
Did you see the Andrew?
Just trying to get all the money in.
All in. Wait. I think I thought that, yeah, I mean, I have to be all in now. Like, this isn't an angle or something. I don't know.
What? How much is it?
This is interesting.
All right, so she announces all in. Then she says, wait a minute, as if she has too many chips and thought, oh my God, I just shoved for too much money. Now, would somebody actually do that at the poker table? I don't know. Like I said, I have not played with Poker Bunny. I have no clue how she actually acts at the poker table. But assuming she is not angling, meaning trying to make it look like she made some blunder with some garbage hand, what do people usually get excited with and screw up with? If you have watched my YouTube channel at all, you know that typically when people have a big hand and they're about to play it for a lot of money, they sometimes get excited, and that sometimes results in them making errors. Now, imagine she did think she only had, let's say, $18,000 in front of her, or $16,000 in front of her. Then all in would certainly be fine as standard, right? But then if she says all in and looks down, oh my God, look at these extra $5,000 chips. Was that an error? I don't know. So, as a default read, typically, when people get excited, they count their chips wrong. Everybody does it. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people do it, sometimes myself included. And if that's the case, that probably weights her range towards very strong hands, or at least potentially an overpair type hand. So if she has an overpair in this scenario, I think that's what we're going to see a lot. I wouldn't really expect to see the two pair, but bottom two pair does make some sense. The question is, though, did she say this to try to make her hand look weak? Is she trying to like reverse angle, trying to do it with some like random ace 9 of clubs? I don't know. One thing I will say is if you are in Ben's shoes here and you observe someone do something like this, always think why. What are the various reasons they could be doing it? Most likely she's just excited and wants to get all of her money in with the nuts and thought she had too much money, or the effective nuts, at least like pocket aces. And if that's the case, I would be way more inclined to find a fold in this scenario. Most people are not trying the reverse angle with the ace 9 of clubs, but some people will. If you don't know what your opponent is doing though, just presume nothing happened. And then play accordingly. A lot of people think that because their opponent does something, they all of a sudden have to get involved in this weird leveling war where, why did she do what she did? Did she do it because she's trying to trick me? Did she do it because she thinks I'm gonna play straightforwardly? And, you can attempt to do that if you know something definitively about your opponent's strategy, but very often you will not. When someone does something at the poker table, either it was an accident, it was just very honest, or they're trying to trick you. The thing is that very often you do not know. And if you do not know, it's not actually all that useful information unless you've seen people like this person make this play over and over again against you, and you have a good database that will lead you one way or the other. So I think in general, this is going to end up being a big hand for the most part. And to be fair, with King 10, it's actually a pretty tough spot because you do beat some big hands like Jack 10.
Count?
Yes.
Yeah, got you. Okay.
This is really
I was
interesting.
thinking I just had
30,000?
Help me out. Yeah, push those whites towards me. Thank you.
Wow.
It is worth noting, I don't know how big of stakes Poker Bunny plays, but 100, 200 games at Hustler Casino is a big game, right? Also, you're on televised poker. It's a big game. People get excited. People do silly things. They make errors, right? I mean, it happens. And I don't know her, but I gotta think most people do not want to make this play on TV in front of people. Honestly, that'd be pretty aggressive to actually do this purposely in an attempt to get your opponent to do something silly. It looks, you don't want to be known to be that type of person.
31. 1.
Anyway, though, where I was going with that is that if you're playing a game much bigger than you normally play, and you're on TV, you're going to be nervous. Everybody gets nervous in that spot.
31. 1. Yeah.
Tough spot for King 10. What do you do with the King 10 here? I realize that he's clearly in bad shape, but would you actually be able to fold the King 10? I don't know if I would. Take a second, pause the video, and write what you would do in the comment section below. Would you find a fold, or would you find a call? I don't know what I would do here. It's a tough spot. To be fair, King 10 offsuit probably should just fold your pre-flop. If we find ourselves here and we know that Ben here is tilted, I certainly don't fault him for a call, which he does make.
One time.
One time.
Run it one time.
Unbelievable. Run it one time.
Correct.
Unbelievable.
Is Poker Bunny going to get the double up? Looks like it. 3 times out of 4 she will. She doesn't. She gets counterfeit. She gets stacked.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I literally, it wasn't.
Do it more.
Ben's tilted, firing $25 chips at the dealer as tips.
I thought I had 20K, so I was like,
This is theater. You gotta love it. And even if you don't love it, we ask you to like it. He just steamed up.
He gets a double up and he leaves.
He's still steamed up.
Goodbye.
He feels like something weird happened there, and it was close.
Did you misread them? Or did you give the wrong amount or something?
I thought I had like 20K.
So she thought she had fewer chips, which, you know, in theory does make a lot of sense because, like I said, the 24K all in or whatever it was would be a little bit big. And so the question is, was she actually angle shooting? I don't know. What do you think? What do you think actually happened here? Go ahead, type it in the comment section. Pause the video. I'm interested in how many of you watching this video think this was a malicious angle shoot to try to get the opponent to screw up. Go ahead, I'll wait for you. Write it in the comment section below. I personally do not think this was an angle shoot. I think this was a case of nervousness. I mean, I have played in plenty of big games, especially whenever I was in the process of moving up, where I screwed up, right? Well, to be fair, I usually don't screw up in these spots, but I see how I could screw up in these spots, right? I'm usually like hyper vigilant to make sure I don't put in the wrong amount of chips because that's clearly a big blunder. But I watch players all the time make this error, especially in games like the World Series of Poker, where they'll act out of turn or they will make a gigantic re-raise and then they'll just look at their chips like, oh my God, I have a million chips. Why did I do this? And I think that's probably what happened here. However, it's important to realize I don't know and you don't know. Poker Bunny's the only person who knows in the spot if she was angle shooting or not. I am tempted to think it was not. I think it was just a case of nervousness, and that is fine and good. So again, like I said, what could Ben do to protect himself in this scenario? Just pretend like nothing happened. And if nothing happens, then, you know, do you call off with a king 10 in the spot? Probably. It's unfortunate, but probably. And I would say that if you are ever in Poker Bunny's shoes and you do make an error like this, if presumably that's what happened, you don't necessarily need to try to justify it to anyone. You can say very calmly, I'm sorry, I did not realize that I had so many chips. But look, you don't have to justify anything you do at the poker table to anyone. You're allowed to do exactly what she did. If she did this maliciously, it's a-okay. It's well within the rules, and the opponent should not be frustrated about it. So many people get angry, tilted, annoyed, etc. when their opponents do something that they think is against the rules or should be against the rules, when in reality, it is not. The rules of poker at basically every casino are very clearly defined, and if your opponent does not break the rules, you should not be annoyed. So, follow the rules, play the game. That said, you're going to find that if you do not break anyone's ethical, moral rules in their head, they're going to like you a whole lot more. And if people like you a lot in general, good things will come to you in life. A lot of people do not realize that a lot of the value you can potentially get from the poker table is by making friends and working together outside of the poker table to better each other, right? And if people do not like you for whatever reason, that is not going to be good for you long term. So make friends, be nice, don't angle shoot anybody, but at the same time, be hyper vigilant such that you do not get taken advantage of. That's me for today. Thank you for watching. Good luck in your games. Have fun and protect yourself before you wreck yourself.